Welcome back to another DPS analytic video. This is going to be week 2 for Molten Core. So the first things to think about when looking at these statistics is this week we will have a lot more data to work with. They did change how fire resistance works a little bit. It's not as punishing as before, but people know the cap and how important it is to have fire resistance. So you're going to have a lot more clean and faster kills on every single one of these encounters. Since a lot more guilds are going to be completing the entire raid and not just a couple of bosses, some groups may not clear the entire raid, but we will still have more data than before. We also will have data including a lot more world buffs since most players understand the fights now, and it's a lot easier to get those higher numbers, and now we'll get a true representation of max damage with all the new gear that they've gotten as well as world buffs. So let's go ahead and look at 95 percentile first. We still have a gap up here with the top 3 specs being Assassination Rogue, Survival Hunter, and then the Marksman Hunter. Feral Druid is not too far behind, as well as your Fire Mage, Affliction Lock, Combat Rogue, and then Fury Warrior is somewhat in the middle of all of these. It's not really that bad. They're all kind of close within another. The only thing is like this little bit of top damage needs to be shaved off a bit, and I think everything would look pretty nice. Balanced Druid definitely needs some buffs though. If you're playing Balanced Druid right now, I don't know how you're doing it, man. That's crazy. They need some kind of love to be closer to this right here. That's all they need. They just need this little bump because a demo lock is beating them right now. That's just absurd. That should not be a thing. They should not be doing tank damage. These specs are kind of always been a meme spec inside of a raid, so it's kind of whatever. I don't think they really need to touch these classes. Arcane Mage could definitely use some love and at least be where the Balanced Druid is. It's just incredibly bad. There's no one playing this right now. Actually, let me look at the numbers. There was 61 parses last week. There's not a lot of data on it, but there's a good reason for it. It's just not a strong spec at the moment. Let's look at damage first, as well as damage to bosses. Your Feral Druid, your Fire Mage, and your Affliction Lock start to pop off. And if we look at max, I'm going to guess it's going to be Fire Mage, Feral, or something like that, and maybe a Warrior's in there. Oh yeah. Warrior is incredibly strong at the very, very top of all of the statistics. Remember, this is a warrior that has probably some pretty good gear, probably full world buffed, and then same thing for the mage, probably has their 4-piece tier now, probably got a weapon or something last week, maybe got the toe-ep or something like that, and same thing for any of these classes that we're looking at the top rank 1. This will be the trend going forward. If we just keep looking at max percentile every single week, these classes will continue to scale, at the top at least these top 5. I don't know how much an Assassination Rogue scales with gear because we're playing a totally different version of the game. They do scale well with gear, but your Fire Mages and your Fury Warriors just always scale very, very well with gear over other classes. So we'll have to see how this pans out, if they start to fall off or if they continue to rise with the other classes. Now, if we just look at damage, you're going to see the Warrior is kind of lower than all these other classes. Let's look at 95, for example. This is a better representation. So for example, the Fury Warrior is all the way in the middle here, and then we go to Sulfuron, for example. This is a fight that does not represent the Warrior at all. They can't hit all of the targets, unlike all these other classes from Frost Mage onward. All these other classes can hit every single target the entire fight, and same thing for Major Domo. Fury Warrior is way down here, so you have 2 fights that just make the Warrior look bad, essentially. But, I mean, you could say the same thing for Luciferon, right? This fight looks really bad for Mage. Same for Gehennas, you know, they have it's not as bad for Gehennas, but they have 2 very important responsibilities on both of these fights. Decursing and dispelling the magic debuff, now that they can do that, and then decursing on Gehennas as well. Shaz is a great example of a fight where Fury Warrior gets to pop off, but the mages don't. So you kind of have this trade-off between certain fights, but for the most part, this is what you're looking at going forward. We did get a nerf for hunters, so we'll have to wait and see how bad that hurts them. I don't think it's going to hurt hunters that bad. I think they'll still be top tier and they'll continue to do very well as they keep getting gear. But in terms of single target, this is what I like to look at the most because I feel like it's a more accurate representation of what you'll see for the most part. Without wasting too much time and keep yapping, I'm going to end the video here. If you enjoyed this and you want to see another video similar to this, I'll be making one for week 3 as well. Be sure to like and subscribe. It helps the channel out so much, and I will see you in the next one.